Hello and welcome to the Royal Survivor 45 podcast, the season finale. I am King, joined here by King's mom.
Hi.
How you doing, Mom?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm exhausted after all this Survivor watching we've been doing. So
Not to mention the holiday.
Oh, that too. That, Merry Kanishmas and all that. So it's over.
Yep.
We know who won.
Yep.
All that good stuff, but we're not telling you yet because we got to get through the entire episode. But
Okay.
It's the finale. It's 3 hours long. We're down to 5 people left. We got Austin, Jake, Dee, Julie, and Katurah. They're the only ones left.
Drew was just voted out.
Yep. We get back from that. It's late and it's kind of like silent for a while. Everybody's just like, "Yeah, good job. We did what we had to do." And Austin, I mean, he looks bothered because his buddy just went.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dee's like, "You want to talk?" And he's like, "Sure." So they head down to the beach and they sit down and she's like, "I'm sorry for not telling you, but I knew, it would be risky if I did." And Austin, we hear his inner monologue like, "Yeah, I told her, but she didn't tell me. But da-da-da-da, it's okay. I'm not mad because he's whipped." He's a good little puppy dog bound to his master's feet, not mad at her for betraying him.
How could he not be mad? Come on. It's like, I just can't, there had to be something there that ticked him, that he was mad. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe he let it go. And, I'm in love with this girl, so I'm going to let it go.
I guess.
But come on.
I didn't like it. I like him as a person, but these past few episodes, it's just his gameplay is.
Yeah.
I mean, he was better off sitting at the end with Drew than he would be with her. I know that's never happening, but he has no resentment for her not telling him when he confided in her. And she's like, "Well, I'm glad you don't hate me." And he's like, "Oh, blah, 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 it's fine." And it's like, geez, he'll do anything for a piece. So
yeah, so look at that. She's like, oh gosh, she's like, she couldn't get over his reaction. She thought he'd have more anger.
Yeah.
And she was like, happy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, because you got him where you want him.
He's wrapped around her little finger. Yeah. So Austin is apparently not upset. He even tells her, he's like, "Yeah, I probably would have used my amulet on him if I knew."
Right.
And she's like, "That's why I didn't tell you." And I'm thinking, yeah, Austin, and if you wouldn't have told her, Julie wouldn't have played her idol, Again, we keep seeing these parallels of him doing things thinking about her and her doing things not really regarding him and thinking about the game.
Or just going, maybe internally she's like, I got him.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want. You're not going to be mad at me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
what happens next?
Okay, so then Jake actually, I just kind of saw this part where they're sitting on the beach. Actually, they had to go to a different.
They're at a new beach.
They're at a new beach, no shelter.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there and watching the sunrise or whatever. And then Jake turns over and he's like, What is that? And they notice this box that has those numbers where you got to turn them and then pull out
you pull the key out or whatever, or the big stick.
Pull the rod out,
yeah,
and it lets go of something.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so they go over there and they read it, and there's 3 stations, it says, and there's a set of items at the 3 stations. One's coconuts, one's crabs, and one's bamboo.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to race to each one and count them.
Yeah.
And then go to this box and use those numbers that they counted.
They spin the little wheels with numbers on them.
Right.
Yeah.
And whoever gets it, pulls out the rod, I call it, or whatever I don't know what they're calling it, wins an advantage.
In the next immunity challenge.
Right.
Right. And so, everyone takes off and they're running from one to the other. And notably, Jake, he ends up going slower. He's like, "I'm not a runner. They're all going to outrun me." He's like, "So I'm just going to take my time and hope I'm more accurate than them." Mm-hmm. And so he's like dead last. Because that's the thing. If you get it wrong, you have to go back to all 3 stations to check again.
Mm-hmm.
So they all start running. Austin gets it wrong. Dee gets it wrong. It doesn't last very long. And Jake gets up there on his first go, and he gets it, and he pulls the thing out. And so he gets the advantage.
Right.
So good for him,
I want to say about that, though, I like the way he did it.
Mm-hmm.
True Survivor fan, when he got a number, like say, for instance, the Crabs,
Mhm.
18. He compared it to season 18 and who won it.
Yeah,
And he would say, I can't remember, JT.
JT, he's like JT,
JT
yeah.
Crabs, JT Crabs.
Then he got
you know.
25, and I think he was saying Denise.
Right.
And then I don't know what the
That
other
was
number
Bamboo, I think.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember what the other number was, but he had 3 Survivor winners in his head. Yeah.
And that's how he would keep the numbers like relevant. You know,
Yeah.
you remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it funny that they're like, what numbers did you get? And he's like, Denise, JT, and then he tells them the actual numbers because he was that ingrained. But yeah, he did very good. He got it on one try. Everyone else was screwing up. So.
Yeah, that was good on his part.
So he gets an advantage. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say this now because over the course of these events, never have I gone from rooting for multiple people in a season to having almost nobody to root for by the end of the finale. People will figure out what I mean by that when we get there. I was so frustrated watching this. Like, beginning, not a big deal. Well, Austin frustrated me early on, but then I'm like, oh, great, Jake got an advantage. Plus, he has his immunity idol that nobody knows about either. So,
right.
So they got that little advantage.
Uh-huh.
I think we just jump right to the challenge.
We do. They go to the immunity, and it's also a reward.
Yes, you go to
The
sanctuary where good things happen.
Steak, dinner, and wine.
Right. So yeah, they have to. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart.
Well, it's an obstacle.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's one of those like obstacle courses. That's right. There's a few things they got to do. At one point, they have to get they have to knock down like a bunch of sandbags and then throw them in 3 targets. That'll show 3 numbers for them to input in another one of those things.
Right.
And then that'll give them a key for like the last part and everything.
Right.
And the noteworthy thing is Jake will already have 2 of his 3 filled with a sandbag with the numbers up, so he only has to do 1.
They have to put them in baskets.
Yeah.
And 2 of the baskets will have the sandbags in them.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's his advantage.
Right.
So we go, everyone runs through the beginning part, little obstacles and stuff. They start chucking their sandbags. Austin, he boop, 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 loads all 3 real quick, but he's still behind Jake, who gets his very quick. And, oh my gosh. So Jake, he gets his numbers in, he pulls out the thing, and the key falls to the ground, and then he takes off without the key that he needs.
Yes.
And then he climbs up this thing and gets to the puzzle that you need to unlock, and he can't unlock it because he left the key, so he's got to go down, and Austin passes him.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So I like the guy, but he's sometimes Mr. Magoo. So
but I get it.
Yeah.
He's thinking, got this advantage, really gotta, really gotta use it.
Keep that lead.
And you're in that momentum, and it's like, got it.
Yeah.
Boom, he takes off.
He's not thinking about the key. Yeah.
And we're over here going, the key.
The camera just like looks right down at it.
Yeah.
And it's like, So he gets it, and then the last part is it's a 3 like tier puzzle. You get a bunch of blocks that stack up, and there's like they make like 6 towers, and they got to be even because then you put a base on them, and you do that 3 times.
Right.
And then you win, basically.
Yeah.
And everyone gets to this point. Some of them are flying through. It basically is a showdown between Austin and Jake. The others are not doing very great. So.
Right.
And Jake actually starts to catch up to Austin, overtakes him, and then there's a piece sitting next to him that he doesn't see because the camera's zooming in on it, it's like showing you he doesn't know this is here. And so they start, instead of like putting the 6 where they need to go, they line them up to make sure they're all even. That's what Austin does, and then he starts copying them, and Jake can't get it to work because he's missing a piece.
Yes.
He's just not seeing things, this challenge, because he's so, and I know he wants to win it, but you got to think about things,
Yeah.
I've seen people where they get confused and they look down and they're like, oh, I dropped this,
Right.
He's not noticing, and Austin beats him. Austin wins immunity.
Yeah.
So, and Jeff even tells Jake, you missed that piece. So.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Really?
The guy's down already.
I know.
And then you made a point, to point that out. I just felt, I guess it's a normal thing that you gotta go, this is why you didn't, wasn't working.
It wasn't to make him feel bad. It was Jeff saying, this is why you were confused.
But of course it's going to make him feel bad.
Yeah.
He was that close to winning. If he had that piece, I think he would have pulled it out.
I think so too.
I really do.
Yeah, he probably would have won.
So I'm not blaming Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the show. It's part of the game and that. I just felt really bad for him that he had to be told that,
Mm-hmm.
and
I hear you.
so anyway, so yeah,
Austin wins, so that's his second immunity win. And then he can pick one person to go on the steak dinner with him.
Right.
And instead of choosing his little girlfriend, he actually chooses Jake, which
Right.
Dee doesn't even seem bothered by it. But,
No.
he even says he's like Jake is always like he has like the least amount of rewards to go on, so I'm taking him. So which I thought was nice.
Right.
And he wants to strategize with him, of course. So.
Yeah, and see what he actually says. I want him just to talk to me
Mm-hmm.
and tell me, and boy did he.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm already frustrated with Austin for how he feels about things. And now I was frustrated with Jake with the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
The women go back and the women are like, so should we just vote Jake? And they're like, yeah, that makes the most sense. He's a likable guy, blah, blah, blah. So then we go to the reward. Jake sits down with Austin and Austin's like, yeah, how you feeling? He's like, pretty good. And Austin's like, you might be a target. And he's like, too bad, I got an idol. What are you doing? Come on. I was pissed. Like, really. These people are making it so hard to root for them when they make stupid mistakes like this. I get he wants to shake things up or whatever, but the better thing is, in my opinion, is if you just make everybody think, oh, it's you, and they all vote for you, you save yourself, and then you pick who goes home.
Right.
Because that's what he can do.
Yeah.
And instead he tells Austin for no reason, knowing he's all with someone on the island.
Yeah, he could have got D right there, now that
Yep.
you mention it.
Oh my God.
If he would have just kept quiet.
This was one of the dumbest moves I've seen, honestly. And I actually think his other moves that didn't work out were smarter than this, because he was at least trying things, and they just didn't happen to work out. This, he didn't need to do at all. Nobody had any idea there was another idol, and that he had it.
Right.
So he tells Austin, and Austin's like, oh, that's great. And he's like, yeah. He's like, so we can, flip it on Julie or something, and Austin's like, cool.
Yep.
So they go back to the island. He gets with Katurah, and he tells Katurah he has an idol. This one didn't bother me as much because they know they're both on the outs. And he says, I still don't think he should have told anybody, but if he's going to tell anybody, he should have told her. And he's like, yeah, we can finally get Julie. They're not going to take me out. I'm going to play it on myself. And she's like, well, what if we get D? And he's like, why D? And she basically explains to him why D is such a threat. And he's like, ooh. And then we immediately cut to Austin going, yeah, D, Jake has an idol. And she's like, okay, then we're going to vote off Katurah instead of Julie. And Austin's like, well, why don't we vote off Julie? And she's like, well, I'm not doing that, but you can do that if you want, And I'm like, I'm sitting here, like, smashing my face against the countertop because, no, duh, he's going to tell her, he tells her everything.
He tells her everything. He probably tells her when he makes a bowel movement. I mean, it's like, come on, dude.
I emptied out D, which means you can hold me. Yeah, so... Yeah. My head hurts thinking about it because it's just so asinine what's going on. So... Yeah, and then of course D tells Julie, so everybody knows Jake has the idol in Final 5, though Julie doesn't really believe him and says, I'm going to vote Jake anyway because I think he's bluffing, because he didn't actually show Austin the idol, so... No, he showed Austin, but he didn't show anybody else, I think.
He threw it out on the ground of
That's
Katurah.
right.
Man,
this is even worse. It's not even a bluff. You just tell him, here it is. He's trying to pull a Tony or something, but... Yeah. So, I'm just gonna fast forward here. We get to Tribal. It's a mess. No, the only person who knows they're safe is Austin. But Jake says he's like, I could just save myself, but I want to do some kind of flashy move in front of the jury to have some momentum. So, and Jeff asks around and stuff. Nobody mentions he has the idol, but mostly because they want to see the jury's jaws fall off, but...
excuse me, one thing we should mention here is that prior to the Tribal, they do agree to vote D, Katurah and Jake.
Yes. Oh, that's because she tells him about her, and he's like, maybe that's a better idea, and he's like, okay, I'll do that with you, and she's like, camera like really zooms in on his eyes, and Katurah even says, I don't trust that look, and Jake has been known to be very sporadic, bouncing around and stuff, and he's like, what do you want me to swear on? And she says, swear on your Nana, right? So he says, I swear on my Nana, I'll vote D. Right. And she's like, okay, then we're voting D, which means their plan could still work.
Right.
So we get into Tribal.
Okay.
People start voting, and we hear Katurah. We don't see her vote, but she says, I feel unsecure about things, so I'm changing my vote in hopes this gives me better odds.
Right.
And then I think we see Jake. He votes D. So
yes.
So then Jeff says, you want to play an idol? Jake stands up. Of course, they wait forever to build drama. He stands up. The jury goes, as they always do. And I want to slap all those women on the jury sometimes. Well, Emily's the only one who looks normal. So
Yeah.
the rest of them are trying to inhale like something. So it's so stupid.
It's over the top.
It is, because they know the camera will pan to them every time and they want to get seen. They're mad they got voted out so early. So he goes to play his idol, and instead of playing it on himself, he plays it on Katurah, thinking that since everyone knows he'll be voted for, he can save her and go and do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the vote, I will say it's kind of funny because one of the first votes is for him. It's Julie's vote, and he goes, "Oh," and it bleeps him out. You know. So we get 1 vote D, 1 vote Jake, 1 vote Katurah, and 2 votes Julie, and Julie goes home.
Right.
Or she's voted off.
Mm-hmm.
Jake is like surprised, you know. Dee's kind of like, yeah, whatever at this point. You know, she held on to Julie as long as she could, so.
But she was shocked that she got a vote. The look on her face, it's like, don't you think you're ever going to be voted for? I mean,
yeah.
The way when her name came up, she's like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, that would have been so good if they would have stuck with that plan, and she got blindsided.
And so now we know Katurah changed her vote to Julie because she assumed someone would, i.e. Austin, would vote for Julie anyway. And she felt safer than possibly having Jake, flip on her or whatever. Yeah. And if that idiot didn't change her vote, the person who has the highest chance of winning would have gone home.
Yes.
So, and those two would have looked so much better for it. So, so since it's the finale, that's only the first chunk. So we go right back to camp with only 4. Jake is pissed because not only did she make him swear for no reason, which he says, you made me swear and you didn't even vote with me. And she's like, well, Jake, you got to take some accountability. I'm like, shut up. You told him to swear. He didn't. How is he not taking accountability? She blames him for not, because she felt unsafe. If she knew he was going to play the idol on her, she would have felt better. But he said the whole point is so nobody knows. But my point to that is nobody should have known you had an idol in the first place, buddy.
Yeah, they belong together, those two.
Yeah, there's a reason they're still here. It's because they keep bumbling their way to the end with people not very threatened by them.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to insult them, but they're not doing a great job. They keep making mistakes. So
yeah,
and then the harder players are benefiting from it. I mean, Austin and Dee just don't want each other out. It happened to be Julie, and Dee's like, if it is her, it is her. I'm just not voting her, which gives her credit. And now Jake was not on the right side of another vote.
Yeah,
because he didn't decide that one.
Right.
So he's mad at her. Austin and Dee are happy. Katurah ends up crying and breaking down, saying now the 2 of them are stuck there with this couple who aren't going to turn on each other. So it's almost impossible to get rid of either of them now.
Right.
So,
right.
So yeah, I think Jake gets a moment where he gets all, emotional because he's sick of things not going his way and he needs to, pull off something. And if he can't, he has no shot, basically, which at least he's aware of that. So,
yeah. And
Dee keeps saying Katurah's a threat, wanting her out before Julie, because, she could talk her way or something. I'm like, no, she can't. Katurah has done, other than being nice to everyone except Bruce. Did you know Katurah wanted Bruce out?
Really?
Yeah. Other than him, she was nice to everybody, and people seemed to like her.
Yeah.
Gameplay-wise, she did jack shit.
Right.
So I don't know why anyone would vote for her.
Keeping her career hidden.
Yeah, which isn't a brag.
What strategy that was.
Who cares?
Then you got people, anyway.
So anyway, we go to the next Muni challenge, unless there's something else you want to say.
No. Okay. I think we covered it.
Okay. Normally the last one is a challenge that's a lot more, simple and even or whatever, and we've seen this before. This one was a lot grander. It's, you have a long stick with a hook at the end, or a holder, and you have a bunch of little bowls that are wooden, and you pick them up one by one. You walk across between ropes that are attached to something that moves, and on the end is a little platform, and one by one you stack the bowls on the end of this platform. And of course, if you step wrong, you could knock them all off and have to start over.
Right.
I've seen it before. Normally they only do 10. They had 17.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That was crazy.
And so first person to get all the bowls up, stacked, and back wins.
Right.
Austin gets an early lead, but goes so fast he knocks his all over. Katurah goes super slow, and although safe, it takes her a long time. And this time it's a showdown between Jake and Dee. They're going back and forth. I don't know what you thought watching this one. You know, I was like nervous watching this.
Yeah, I don't know what I was, but I mean, I I had a feeling Jake wasn't going to get it because he gets frenzied, I
Mm-hmm.
think, as he gets closer to possibly winning. I
Mm-hmm.
think he gets nervous and gets frenzied.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
is slightly behind Dee at this point. She's got like a half or a one bowl advantage on him, and he nudges his too much, going too fast, high stepping, and all his fall over.
yeah,
So it means Dee can slow down and go even safer.
yeah,
Katurah knocks hers over, even though she was behind them. He starts picking. He can't. There's so many he dropped. He dropped like 9 or whatever. He has to. He can't even pick them all up, and he's going back, and he's bumping all over the. I don't know what it's called. The thing with all the ropes in it that he has to walk through. It's like on like something that makes it bend,
yeah, yeah,
or it's like attached to like springs. And he's like really. You hear like the, as he's crushing it. And Jeff says, "Dude, you break it, you're out." And he steps on it wrong and it snaps off.
yeah.
I've never seen that happen where a
No.
contestant broke their challenge, so they're just disqualified, basically.
Yeah.
Jeff says, "You're out." And he's like, "Sorry." And Jeff's like,
Yeah.
don't have to be sorry. You just took yourself out of the challenge, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he wasn't. You
I-
could tell he was angry.
He was he was furious at himself. And I think he almost like knew, I don't think I have a shot unless she drops.
Yeah.
And Dee goes super slow and boom, 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 boom. She wins. She
Yep.
wins her third immunity.
Yeah.
And it means Dee is guaranteed a spot at Final 3, and she gets to pick who goes there with her.
Right. And who does fire?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is where we see Jake. He gets all emotional, saying, "I need something for myself. Even if it means I lose, but I can't be taken to the end." And so they all talk to Dee, and she's like, "So you want me to take you?" And he's like, "No, I want you to make me do fire so I can at least earn something," which I still respect.
Yeah.
Nothing's gone right for this guy.
No. No.
So everyone is practicing fire. Austin kind of assumes she's gonna take him because they lovey-dovey each other. She even says, I'm smitten and all that. But when he's more confident in his fire making, he'd rather go up against Katurah just to ensure she doesn't win, so they can go with Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Dee doesn't really want to take that risk or anything, but they'll wait and see. Jake ends up struggling for a while, so Austin actually tries to help him and everything. Because for a while, Jake is like, he's setting up sticks before he even gets the fire going, which means he knocks him over while he's trying to start the fire. And Austin's
This
like,
is while he's practicing.
yeah. And Austin's like, no, you gotta you gotta set it up, then build on top of it and all
Mhm.
that. So
Yeah. But also, too, Austin thought if he went, that's just another
Notch
check
in his
mark on
belt.
his resume.
Instead
Yeah.
of having his buddy take him to the end, he once again wins something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and Dee's though she doesn't really say it, that's part of it too. She don't want to give him more credit.
Sure.
So, Austin's thing is, like he keeps saying, he's like, if I don't win, I want it to be her. And Dee's thing is, I love hanging out with you, but I'm going to beat your ass and then make fun of you for it. Like playfully, like she does care about him, but like she's winning. Like that's her mind, So
Mhm.
she says, I'm doing it for my family. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we get to it. Dee says, I'm taking Austin to the end. So her and Austin are in final 2 or of 3. And then Jake and Katurah go. They start going at it. You got to build up the fire and burn through the rope, and whoever does that first wins. Katurah keeps getting little flames going, but they keep going out. Jake finally gets a base, and he builds it up really big, and it just blazes through. And Jake, yay, gets to final 3.
Right.
So,
Right.
and then
Thank God.
yeah, at least people we like her at the end, but I was just watching all these bad moves, and I'm like, I want you all to lose at this point. Can Caleb come back and win? Like, someone who's got common sense?
Yeah, I miss him.
Yeah.
With all these goofballs.
I know. For me, literally the only person who wasn't frustrating is Dee because she's not making mistakes. She's playing a great game. I just find her so dull. I don't know. She's not entertaining to me, and she's not very charismatic. I don't know. Even though she like laughs and stuff, she doesn't feel charismatic to me. I don't know what
That's
it
what
is.
drives me crazy is the smile.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, It's like when you see a horse move back its lips.
Oh, jeez.
And you got all them teeth.
Mhm.
You know,
She has, like, perfect
I'm
teeth.
not. Yeah, she does have perfect teeth, but I don't need to see them every 5 minutes.
That's what she didn't like about Parvati either.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like it's over the top.
Yeah.
You know,
Almost too big of a reaction.
and it's like, yeah, I just everyone's. I got an
Yeah.
issue with her.
She's playing well.
She is.
I never found myself rooting for her. I'm not saying
No.
she doesn't deserve to win. I'm just saying I don't really want her to. You know, so
no, never rooted for
compared to a good chunk of people who aren't in the game anymore. So,
Mhm.
but oh well, we got what we got. Then the big bombshell comes. Katura's a lawyer. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, we had 3 lawyers? I'm like, yeah, because blue-collar people in this economy can't even be on Survivor. They can't leave their job. All you white-collars can. So, sorry, not sorry. And she's like, yeah, I want people to like me for me, not for being a lawyer. And in my head, I'm like, they wouldn't like you because you're a lawyer, because nobody likes lawyers.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, so all the lawyers lied, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because even Jake lied, but because Jake's actually a prosecutor, not a defense attorney. Julie, said, never said she went to school to be a lawyer. And Katura is a lawyer and said she just thought about being one,
Yeah, but I think Julie's a real estate lawyer.
She is,
Which
yeah.
is, she sits at closings with
Mhm,
people to
yeah.
make sure that they buy their house right and their mortgages right. you know?
Right.
Now, I'm not saying it's not a good field and all that, but she's not like, you don't lie
Yeah.
as
for
a real
that.
estate
Yeah.
attorney.
So, well, yeah, lawyers. Everyone says bye, Katura. She's voted off. Thank goodness. So, Bruce was probably happy about that. I don't know. He's the only one on the jury that I enjoyed watching because he'd sit there and be like, he you didn't know what he was thinking. So, which I prefer, honestly. So yeah, final 3. We got Dee, Austin, and Jake, and they go back to the island. They think about everybody that's on the jury. The jury talks about who they like, but most of them seem open-minded. We go to final tribal council. I mean, we're going to fast forward to this point. We get to the end.
Yeah.
And yeah, I miss the old way where each member of the jury went up and asked either all 3 of them or one of them a question. And then they gave their little speech and then they told, I like you and I hope you jump off a cliff. Like it's mean, but it's more entertaining that way. Now they all just sit there, talk over each other and I'll ask them all the same. Like, it's so awkward and it seems so much quicker and it's not as fun for me. So
It's just somewhat too nice.
yeah. It's
you
so
can't
nice.
tell me that none of these people are upset about being voted off.
Yeah.
Kelly wasn't upset.
She was miserable like the entire time she's been on the jury. So.
I mean, her first tribal after being voted off, Caleb had to hold her hand because she was just so emotional.
Him I get.
You
Like
know.
Caleb, he's like, hey, they got me. I did everything I could.
Oh, him I get.
No.
That's him.
I was expecting Kelly, Kendra, and Drew to all lash out at somebody.
Yeah.
And none of them did. And I'm like, come on. Like, it's more fun when they're mad because and you can't blame them for being mad about certain things, Now, when they tell people, if you were dying of thirst, I wouldn't give you any water, that's a bit much. Or, the one...
Yeah, but it's great TV.
That, though, yeah, because you stand there and I'm like, oh, you horrible person, I'm glad you're on the jury, you shouldn't be sitting there,
I mean, you call it the new era, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
That's what Jeff calls it.
And that's what it really is,
Yeah,
I've been watching Survivor from the very beginning. And yeah, I'm older.
Yeah.
I'm older than all the players on this season.
Yeah.
And it's too, what do I want to call it?
Nice.
It's like, well, yes, and it's like nobody wants to offend anybody.
Yeah.
It's the way of the world
They're
now.
all afraid of that.
Do I want to offend anybody? No.
Yeah.
But if I were playing that game and somebody pissed me off, they'd probably hear about it if I were on the jury.
Yeah.
Even if it was a joking thing and said, you know what? Out of you 3, you pissed me off because I know you voted for me. You played a great game, and Yeah. And then maybe ask my questions.
And I get it, but yeah, I mean, Survivor used to really be about, what if all these random people were just plucked off the street? There was more prep to it than that, but it really felt like they're grabbing these people. Now they're all super fans. They're all the people who go, I love Survivor, I grew up with it, kind of like us, and it's like, I've always wanted to play Survivor every day of my life, and I really have a sad backstory, blah, 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 blah. And then just 18 of the same person get casted. That's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
The only difference is whether they're, you know, a he, she, or a they. Other than that, they're literally the same person. You know, that's what it feels like. The previous season, I'm like, everybody's so nice. Like, oh, that's really heartwarming and all, but can you guys try and take each other out? Like, it's not, you know, I want that meet and grit. I don't know. I want them to be nasty, you know.
Nitty gritty?
Yeah, nitty gritty, you know. Some people get torn apart on the jury or whatever. Sometimes it goes a little far, but normally, if someone screwed me over, I'd probably have something to say about it. Not say I hope you die, but, you know, say I'm not voting for your lying ass or something, you know. I will point out that a few, like, plus sides, people seemed really, like, empathetic to Jake, because, like, some of them even said, you know, these other two were in the power position the whole time. Jake's still there because he was fighting constantly from the bottom.
Right.
Even when Jake talks down a little, a couple of them, even Drew, who he fought with, is like, don't sell yourself short. You're there. So, Dee, I think, didn't do even though she was doing a lot of good moves, she didn't do a great job at pleading her case. Like, I guess she's trying to be honest, and they do want you to own your game, but she's always saying, like, I got really lucky. Don't say that! My voice cracked when I said that. You gotta make yourself into the most dominating person in the game. Now, of course, if you're completely full of it, they're not gonna buy it, but she was playing. She was a threat. And she's saying, I got really lucky, you know, I had, you know, our group of 4, we made the decisions. No, you say who I wanted to go goes home. Because the show tried to frame it like that. I don't know. The one thing she did good with is said, I made really strong social connections where people knew when I said I'm doing this, I'm doing it, and they believed me, which is true. And she, you know, and people didn't want to vote for her because they were so close to her and everything. Credit to that, but I don't know, it didn't feel like she was really owning her game. It didn't feel like a strong performance. To me, it felt like Austin was doing the best. He even brought up something we didn't know. He said, I'm actually an alternate. I didn't find out I was going to play until 72 hours before the game started. So he's even said, he's like, I came in I'm going to try everything. I'm going to be mad about the sandwich, but I want the idol anyway. You know, I'm going to try and find the idols. I'm going to play hard in the challenges. I'm going to eat the giant fish eye because why not? You know? And he played, you know, he never not did a move, he was saying. He also said he's the only person left, which is true, that didn't get a vote. No one ever wrote his name down to vote him off. And so I thought he was doing a good job. Of course, the one thing that sank him was, I think it was Drew asking specifically about, like, the Reba dynamics, you know, why were they working so well and everything, but it eventually comes up where Austin says, you know, me and Dee, or they're even asking about the relationship, he's like, yeah, I told her we're going to vote for Julie, and I really don't believe she told Julie about our plan, and Dee goes, actually, sorry, but I did. And then a few people are, like, nodding their heads. I'm like, and Austin was like, he genuinely looked shocked that there was no possibility Dee wouldn't have told her other best buddy on the island. And no, duh, she did.
Yeah.
And I told you, I looked at you and I said, that sank his chances of winning right there. Her knowing things and that he had no clue about, so.
Yeah. Yeah, because actually, when you were saying how Dee wasn't really talking well as far as the moves she made and stuff and saying I'm lucky and all that, you know, until she got that one vote, they were even, I would say, in their gameplay. Yeah. He was finding advantages and getting the advantages, working with Drew and with her, you know, and Julie. But those 3, I think, Drew, Austin, Dee, did the most planning.
Right. Julie was likable, but she wasn't grabbing people. Like Austin even said, me and Drew, when we were by ourselves, we had to we pulled in Emily and swapped things in our favor and everything. Yeah.
So I think they were really close as far as gameplay.
Right.
But then when like you just said, when she turns to him and goes, no, I did tell her. It's something he didn't know. It was kind of asinine for him to believe her.
Right, have no doubt about it, yeah.
You know, the fact that he told her everything and she didn't tell him everything.
Yeah.
So I think all that sunk his game or sunken
yeah.
from winning.
And one of the strongest things in Survivor is how you use the information you have, because it's all about deception and trust and all that stuff. You know, what do you know that other people don't, and how do you use that for yourself? She used it to take out Emily, which, you know, whenever you tell someone they had to work really hard to get rid of you or whatever, it makes that person like you, because it's like, I was so good you had to get rid of me. Yeah, you know. So, she saved her ally at the time, you know, so she used information she was given and never gave it, which also benefited her. So,
Right.
So, and yeah, at that point, it made her look better. So, but yeah, they were doing a lot of it to them and Drew. You know, Drew was the one who made the big Kelly blindside. He started that. But other times they did it as well. They led it or whatever. You know, Austin wanted Julie gone, but it took him 3 tries to make it happen. He finally got it to happen, but you know, so
Yeah.
So anything else you want to comment on Final Tribal Council?
I don't think so.
Okay. I felt going in, even though, because a lot of the jury members were saying, I want the person who played the best game. And, you know, you were saying, well, Jake could have, because of the fact he's still there. He survived when everything was against him. And I do credit him for that. I just felt, specifically with these people, they're looking for the person who took them out to feed their egos, which I might be a little like that myself. I'm not, you know, coming down on that. And the person who made the most successful moves.
Yeah.
Jake made a lot of moves. He was trying to. He's much better than somebody who gets to the end and does nothing and just gets there. He was trying to flip things around and just couldn't make it happen. But they're looking for the person who said, "I want this person gone. They're gone. I want to win all these challenges. I want a lot of these challenges." Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they vote. There's 8 jury members and 3 people. So it goes quite even for a while between Dee and Austin. But in the end, Austin gets 3 votes, Jake sadly gets 0, Dee gets 5. And as I've been predicting, and many people have for several episodes now, Dee is the winner of Survivor 45.
Yes.
And
Boo!
I'll give her the...
Yeah, she did play a good game. She really did.
Not the most exciting winner, but the person who deserved it, probably. So.
Yeah. I mean, winning those, you know, immunity challenges there and everything, they weren't easy.
I was honestly, I thought it might tie. Even Jake said, he's like, I was thinking, he's like, after all that, he's like, I kind of figured it wouldn't be me. And he's like, I was thinking about who would I have to vote for in a tie. Because that happened once. There was a final 3 tie between, you remember Wendell, I think.
Yeah.
With the afro. It was him and, I can't think of the other guy's name. Oh, I like this guy too. I can't think of his name. It was him and this guy. They basically run their season. And then they have this one other girl with them in the final 3. She's their ally too. And they both are so in tandem with each other, the jury ties on them. And so she has to go to the jury and pick the winner. Well, a lot of people thought, can't think of his name, but the other guy who was the more strategic one, they said he should have won, but because Wendell was better at making relationships, she voted for him to win. So he won 5-4. I honestly thought Dee and Austin might tie. It was a lot closer than I thought, to Austin's credit, because I thought Jake would get like maybe Bruce's vote or something, and then I figured Drew would vote for Austin, which he did because they're so close and everything. But then I really thought everyone else was going to vote for Dee, and so to know that, you know, it was only a 1 vote difference between her winning or tying, you know. So Austin gets 2nd place, so he gets $100,000. Dee gets the $1 million, which will be cut in half because of taxes. So,
but I'm here for my family.
Yeah. Well,
and I get that. Most people are.
Yeah, she's she wants to retire her parents, she says. So she's going to use the money for like noble causes, you know.
Yeah. You know, I want to ask you something though. When you were talking before about, you know, everyone gives their sob story.
Yeah.
What the hell would our sob stories be?
I think about this like, because I don't know, like, you know, some of them weren't as compelling as others. Like, okay, I heard, you know, we never see Drew's. I heard it was in a secret scene, meaning they didn't put it on the show, meaning they didn't deem it as important. You know, we get Emily's about, you know, not being, well, in the beginning, she didn't even have a sob story. Eventually hers is just the whole, oh, I might want to get married thinking I never would thing.
That wasn't to me a sob story.
Well, that's what they're classified as,
like,
or whatever.
You changed your mind.
Yeah,
okay.
like Kendra's was, you know, thing with her real dad, even though she had a like adopted family, she met her real dad, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, Austin's was, oh, I grew up chubby with acne and now I'm good looking. So I had it rough when I was young. But I could see why that gives him self-confidence issues later
Yes.
in life.
Yeah.
I'm just saying his is like not as compelling, you just, compared to like, I don't know, no one's, well, Katura's was the most emotional with the cult and everything,
Yeah.
surviving
Yeah.
that, not going to school for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think of me and it's like,
You lead a charmed life, kid.
I do. Well, there, and I think that's part of the whole people don't want to get flack. They don't want to offend anyone. Like some people just ripped Drew apart while they're watching this show. Oh, I can't stand him. I can't wait to see him go. He's such a jerk. He's the villain you gotta hate. And I'm like, this poor kid is 23. He's a little overly arrogant.
Which a lot of 23-year-olds probably could be.
And the worst thing he did is eat Jake's rice and then go, oh, we ate it all? We gotta make him more. That's what he did. At first they laughed about it, then they're like, shoot, we didn't want to.
I forgot about that, but yeah, that was a low blow. But
okay, that was
not
bad.
to where I would consider him a villain.
No, you got Russell burning socks, hiding machetes, and calling people a dumbass to their face. You got Corinne telling Sugar she hopes she just downs a bottle of antidepressants. You got Brandon Hance wanting to punch people and dump in their food. These are real villains. Even Rob, as charming as he is, he talks mad crap about people in confessionals. Early on, he did it to their face, and then later on, people liked him more because he'd only do it in confessionals. He'd be nicer to them. But, these are the villains, and that's why. Jerry was just kind of obnoxious. That's why she was there. Parvati was a very good manipulator, but she was,
playing that sex kitten card.
Well, yeah, and that's why, she stomped on the men's hearts or whatever, But, so that but that's what I'm getting. Like, these are villains. And now people are going, well, he's a villain. It's because everybody's so damn nice, they're looking for the slightly mean person to say of it. Like, people said, oh, I love Emily, she's a great villain. That lasted 2 episodes, and now she's the hero or whatever.
Well, see, this is getting back to what I was saying. There really are no villains.
No.
Where are the villains?
There are no villain people.
And I'm not saying, because I'll tell you, you go on somebody, so like you were just saying, they hate this guy, and okay, let me just say this about Drew. He doesn't seem like he's 23.
No.
The way he talks and that, I mean, you're kind of like that too. You're 23.
Mm-hmm.
I could see where people would think you're older just hearing you talk.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, he studies a lot of history.
If you didn't have the facial hair and didn't talk, they'd say you were 16.
Yeah.
Which has happened.
Is he old enough to be on that show?
Yeah, exactly. So, but what I'm getting at is like, everyone don't want to offend, be nice and all this. But yet in the real world, which I see a lot of on these social sites, this neighborhood site that I want, everybody is so freaking mean and angry.
Yeah.
It's like, where is that?
Why is that not in Survivor?
Yeah.
Why? And I get it, too. Maybe to an extent, people are like, well, if I'm all mean and nasty, they'll vote me off because of it.
Yeah.
Which I get. So, and those are normally like the debated topics during the gameplay. Them going, well, they're super annoying and boggle down camp, but if I play with them, they're the shield for me, kind of thing, or whatever.
Like Philip.
Like nobody liked him, but Rob said, well, if I take him to the end, he'll no one's gonna vote for him.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, and that's what happened. People are like, why would I pick this useless person and this guy and play for the guy who played really well? And even though he's a returning player, he played the best game, Heck, Cochran did the same thing to Philip the second time. Like, Philip was trying to lead the alliance, and Cochran even said, he's like, I'm gonna let Philip thinks he's in charge, and then when he goes, people are getting rid of the wrong person out of our alliance. They should be getting rid of any of one of us. We're just letting him take all the heat. So, and that worked in his favor. So, you can use those people. Now, I'm not talking these people need to go hiding machetes and being mean there, but say it in confessionals or shit on them when you're on the jury, there's a time for it. So back to the thing about our, sob story. It just feels like now, like everybody's got something, even the people quitting. Sean's like, I have to go back to my husband who I love, and like that. And they're trying to make that like more emotional than, no, you're just quitting, But, and so we see these things, and I feel like the mean people online, like, I don't have a sob story. My biggest thing would probably be maybe a lack of self-confidence too, to an extent, just because
That's not really a sob story, though. That's
No.
like a personal trait.
that's more of the like, because some people have the, the survivor journey they want to go on, like I want to discover more about myself, or feel more confident,
Yeah.
and so me going there, it's more of an inspiring thing than a sob story.
Yeah.
It's not my fault that my parents, they worked really hard, they got really good jobs, and they took care of me really well. I live a comfortable life. We have a house and working appliances, and we can eat whenever we want. And I'm not saying all these people are poor or anything. I'm just saying I have that. I don't have, body illnesses that make me, out of shape that I can't fix or whatever,
Yeah.
So, but I feel like the meat people be like, well, yeah, he's just privileged. What does he need the million for, or whatever? I'm not saying most fans would be like that, especially if I was a compelling enough character on the show. But I think like I've never had like a really harsh experience. Poor Katura, like what she went through.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to her. That's crazy what she went through, and she's here trying to better. I'm also not a black lesbian woman, or whatever. I'm a white guy, so
Yeah.
not that I'm getting all racy here or anything. I'm just saying, people have those thoughts.
Well, she threw that out there.
She put it out there. That's why I'm mentioning
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't. And you've lived a pretty damn good life,
Yeah,
what you've
and I
gotten for
didn't.
yourself.
I was joking when I said you have a charmed life.
Yeah.
Anything that you set your mind to achieve.
Mhm.
Graduating high school, graduating college.
Yeah.
Working out.
I have
being
a job.
YouTuber.
Yeah.
You have a job 4 years. You've been at the same place.
Right.
You achieved that. That's not us doing that for you. That's you doing it for yourself.
Yes, I'm not. I'm not some bum that you guys are just supporting, and I think I'm all that.
No.
I still work hard, but I don't have that like, oh, when I was little, I got hit by a car, and I never thought I'd recover from it. And now here I am, back to physical capabilities. So.
Yeah, and see, I'm the type like talking sob stories. I don't want to have a sob story.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't,
Mm-hmm.
because my motto: I handle my shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So have I had shit in my life? Yeah,
Mhm.
but I handled it.
Yeah.
I don't want that to define me.
And what does playing a game on an island have to do with you overcoming that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I want to show you what I can do here.
Yeah.
And stand by that.
Yeah.
And not talk about, not what got me here, but yeah, I don't want to talk about that. That's my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is my game time.
It's game time, so I just thought of that, though. It's like you were talking, everyone's got a sob story. I don't think everyone does. Like even Emily's wasn't really a sob story.
That's just what it's like classified as, like the emotional backstory to the person. So
yeah, I mean, so that's why I asked that question, but it was interesting to just kind of talk about that.
It's more or less a gag for like Survivor people to talk about, because it's like, oh, what's this person's sob story? Because the show always puts like the emotional music behind it, like that you see the past like baby photos or whatever, and they're trying to be like, oh, look at this person and look at this person. Oh, you want all these people to win, And I get it, they're trying to grip you, but it's almost like a joke, because out of the 18 of them, maybe 2 of them have one that goes, wow, that's real, like, serious. The rest, that's why I say the thing about Austin, like, be like, yeah, I could see why that's rough, but look at you now. You're good looking and you're pretty damn smart. I think you got, you got this cute girl who's into you, so I get it.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's literally Katura's is the only one that sticks out to me as like a real serious, like, oh, wow, like, can you believe that? So kind of thing.
Well, like Jake puts it, hey man, we're on Survivor.
Yeah. Your life must be pretty good for you to go play a game show for $1 million. So.
Well, and you're not lucky, you got picked. Well, I guess maybe there's a little luck to it.
There's 10,000 people playing.
That's what I was going to say. So that's what I liked about him. He talked about, I don't consider it a sob story. He was heavy. He lost weight. Good for him.
And he has that
now he's a healthier guy.
He has that fainting thing too to overcome.
Well, yeah.
And that's just stuff he's had to deal with. He never made it seem like a sob story.
No,
He just said,
no.
I overcame this. You
Yeah,
know, I
yeah.
think it's put in the category of just like, this is his backstory thing.
Yeah.
But he overcame it. It's not like a depressing thing. Good. It's heroic. He did it. Good job. You know, so.
You know, and I do feel for those that have had these, even Austin. I raised a son.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine if he were mine, the bad acne, the
Yeah,
weight,
I have
possibly
acne.
being picked on.
Yeah.
You know, yes, I feel for him, especially when you're a kid and you don't know how to deal with things and all that kind of stuff.
He had it rough, yes. My point is, now you're here, now you're better than that. Why does that matter, now is what I'm looking at. Like you said, he handled his shit. You know, he's fit, he's charming, he grew up, it's not to take
Cut your
away.
hair. But anyway, I'm just kidding.
It's not to take away eat a sandwich. Yeah, he definitely wants that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they gave him pizza at the end, but I think he was happy with that too. It's not to take away that it was emotionally significant in your life, but it's like now you're at Survivor. This is a new chapter kind of thing. So yeah, I don't think you play Survivor. I know people want to discover more things about themselves, but you don't play Survivor to overcome your personal adversity. So
yeah, and I want it to be said here. I do have a heart. When I heard different things, I felt for these people.
Of course.
And I don't mind hearing them.
I'll hear it.
But when I don't want it, it's outwit, outlast, outplay.
Yeah, you're there
That's
to play
what
them.
I care about. How they played, how they outwitted, and how they lasted.
Yeah.
Because I'll even say, even those that they say rode coattails, I say they're there and you're not.
Yeah.
They're at the final three and you're on the jury.
However
you got there,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that I do feel for those people that had these things happen to them and glad they overcame them.
Yeah.
And they got to play Survivor.
Yeah. If I played, I definitely think I'd be classified as a villain to an extent because I think I'd talk crap in confessionals. So be like, these people are so stupid sometimes,
Oh, I totally talk crap in a confessional.
And so apparently that'd make me a villain. I'd also play my hardest to try and get out who I wanted to get out and try and have power in the game and everything. So I'd be nice to people.
Yes.
I'm not going to bully people, but I do think I'd have that bit of, that devilish charm or whatever on the offside. Be like, I got them right where I want them, or say, I'm sitting comfortable, which means I shouldn't feel comfortable because it means it's not going to go right, which means I got to change my plans now, or whatever, or be, if I know, I'm like, I'm playing this idol tonight. So, sayonara, sucker, whoever I'm getting rid of, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and embrace it. And if I go home, at least I can say I was a fun character, and, and that can get you brought back again, which makes me want to transition into our last point. D1, good for her.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next season. But I will say we had a lot of interesting folks this time around. So I'm going to ask you, what's a handful of people that you think would return in a future? I feel like season 50 will be a new era returnee season or whatever. If they do heroes versus villains again or whatever. I don't think they have enough villains to make that happen.
No.
The tribal.
It's more like pussies versus,
versus people willing to play. Yeah.
That's terrible. I'm sorry.
So stop being nice. Have a sandwich.
Pussies.
So
okay,
who do you
handful?
think? Yeah, who do you think you would
would or would I want to see come back?
Either.
Yeah. Caleb.
Saw that coming.
Totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just love that kid. Because he is a kid to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know I talk young and everything, but
you're young in spirit, Mother.
I'm a little older
and young in hair.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely Caleb. You mean out of these 12, correct? Or, 18.
Yeah.
18.
Anybody vote off before the jury? Probably not, but...
yeah, I don't remember them. So,
Two of them quit, so I'd hope to never see
them.
again.
Gosh, no. Quitters, no.
And the other one was the worst player I've ever seen, so, yeah.
Jake.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see him give it another try and learn from this one.
Yeah.
And keep your mouth shut. Don't get so...
Yeah.
Okay, Caleb, Jake... I want to see any women come back.
I'd like to see Emily again.
Yeah.
I think
I was thinking of who was on the jury, and I'm like, Yeah, I guess I would like to see
I don't want
her.
to see any of the other ones. They're so annoying.
Yeah.
So, at least after what I've seen of them on the jury, they're annoying. So.
And to be honest, I think Austin. I wouldn't mind
Okay.
seeing him again. He
Mhm.
played a great game. I did like him without D.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, I want to see him just as himself. So, not with wrapped around somebody's finger. Because, I mean, he went the distance, but he lost to the one. I really think he could have beat her. Or he would have won if she wasn't there.
Yes.
So, I think he beats Julie. So, or Katura, whoever's next to him, so.
Yeah, I think he would beat Julie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Katura.
So, yeah, I'm pretty much there with you. I like Caleb. I'd like to see him again, especially because he went so early. Jake, I'd be fine with that. If he was better, if he was the same, then no, because he's just gonna make mistakes again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but if he learns from his mistakes, then
yeah, I'll say him. I'll say Emily. She's like the only woman I want to see again. If I'm gonna be honest, I really like her. So, and I'd like to see her learn, from her gameplay. She already learned from like personality stuff. Now from the gameplay perspective.
Yeah, don't be a bitch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't advertise your moves right after you make them, because then people want to vote you out because of it.
Right.
I'm going to say Drew. I find him very interesting. So, and to see him grow, because even I'll just say, I saw some of the reunion. He said he was kind of humbled. He's like, I really thought I was sitting pretty, and then they just blindsided me. And he's like, so it was a humbling experience. So hopefully he'd be a little less arrogant, a little more focused on the game, So I'd like to see him again. And he's a good narrator. I like all his weird, over dramatic, metaphors and comparisons to history and stuff. Jeff likes it because he keeps egging him to do them. So,
Yeah.
So I like him, and I like the way he talks, and he's a good narrator. You always knew what he was thinking. So them, and I'll say Austin again. Yeah, without D, I'd like to see Austin play again.
Yes.
So
yeah. It would be interesting because they were a couple,
a strong duo.
So him without a woman he's got the hots for.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a different woman, who he's just in alliance with, and there's no lovey-doveyness.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she's good for him anyway.
She's dangerous. So.
I think, if he were my kid, I'd be like, there's more fish in the sea. She didn't have your back. She's not for you.
You didn't win the $1 million over her, that bitch.
Yeah. And stop being a pussy.
Vote her ass off.
Yeah.
win the game. So. Yeah, no, even if I was crushing on a girl, I'd still just want to win the game, if I'm being honest. I'd try and find a way to not take the blame for getting rid of her or something,
Well, I'd like to think that if you were ever in that position, you would think of me.
Mm-hmm.
And, what would mom think or do?
Yeah.
And will mom kick my ass when I come home?
That's what I'd say. I'd be like, I don't want to be a mama's boy, but if my mom knew I was going to throw this game for possible relationship that might not even work out, she would be livid with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do the right thing by my mama and vote her ass off. and then I'll blame my mom for voting her off. So
that's fine.
And she'll be fine with it.
Yep.
And then I'll go on to win the $1 million.
Because I want to, you say you'll take care of us when we're older. I don't mean financially, but if you want $1 million, you could,
I can get you a little something.
Yeah, a little something. Our car's like 23 years old. So, not that you're playing anytime soon.
No.
They're already got the next season ready to go.
And the next one's probably casted after that. So,
you better get cutting then,
I'm working out to be fit for it. And then I got to start 3D printing puzzles, I guess. So, I'm be ready for it.
We got to get you a flint for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I guess that's all for this, huh?
Yeah, it's been great, hon.
I've enjoyed doing this with you.
Yeah, me too. Oh, you're fist pumping me and I'm ready to shake your hand like it's a business deal.
We're really awkward. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening.
Yeah.
We'll see if we feel like doing this again. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Maybe it'll go on another channel. We'll see. We'll keep watching Survivor, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do have a channel, but there's nothing on it, so maybe it'll go on there.
Maybe one day. But thanks for hanging out with us, and as always, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.